Affordable rentals are broken. Here's why.
Elderly tenants of a low-income apartment building in Chinatown are facing rent increases.
Was like, wow, what's happening here? I mean, it was uncalled for.
Her listed rent was $1,200 per month, which increased to more than $1,600 in September.
These fixed income seniors now have to choose between the ultimate hard decision.
They got to cut back, and what do you cut back on? Food, groceries.
Today, we'll go over this project's history, how it happened, how it's legal, and ultimately how to fix it. Because if it's not fixed soon, everything else will break too. When Halewai'olu Senior Residences had plans to build their 155 affordable unit project, so many were rejoiced at the chance of a senior livable rental. The idea for it started over 15 years ago in 2008, and it finally came to be. This project was part of a large-scale state initiative to fix affordable housing. Specific to seniors, it's one of only 6 projects in the last decade to be built. It has added roughly 1,000 units in total and certainly positive progress, but it barely makes a dent in the projected 65,000 shortfall in affordable senior units necessary as of this year. We will address this issue later in the video. The 2021 completion date quickly became 2023 as delays compounded. Regardless, there was so much demand when it opened that a lottery system had to be implemented. Those that applied were the lucky select few. And for the next 2 years, it was an amazing win for the entire community and a template of private-public partnerships at work, until the reality came crashing down in October 2025. Have you ever gotten this letter before?
Her rent increased by 9% of $137 to more than $1,600 per month.
A lot of people weren't happy, so a lot of people moved out.
If the first reaction you think is, how can they do that? Then you're not alone. It's a trending topic since the article broke late October for very good reason. Almost all of these renters are elderly on fixed income. But if we can put our feelings to the side for just a second, let's try to unpack this problem. How is this issue any different than any other rental increase? Is it because it's for the elderly? Is it because it's for the lower income? Is it because there's some type of implied guarantee of a rent freeze when thinking about affordable housing? If you answer to yes because of all the other yeses, then that brings us to the next part. It's easy to understand being on the renter's side as the underdogs, but what about the other side? How many of you are invested in something, and how did you make that investment decision? If you are like most, you weigh the risks and rewards and pick the best investment vehicle that combines both. Don't you invest in real estate because it's a hard asset with a very low chance of going to zero? And what happens if the numbers change where you're less profitable, much less unprofitable? Why is it different for a single condo unit owner versus a condo building owner? That's the entire crux of this issue of how it happened. Let's restart this affordable housing issue with the solution being to build. That's exactly what the Michaels organization did when they were selected by the state. They are the nation's largest sector owner of affordable housing. It's their first Oahu-based project, partnering with First Hawaiian Bank, American Savings Bank, the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation, and Mayor Rick Blangiardi. It's literally the who's who of businesses and state organizations responsible for fixing this, and this is their first project in Hawaii. It cost $93.3 million to build the 156 1- and 2-bedroom unit project. If we just break it down in the most simple way possible of total units divided by total cost, each unit costs roughly $600,000 to build. If you were to purchase any affordable project now, like the Ulana, Ilalani, or Kuilei Place at that price, with your standard 10% down at current interest rates of 6%, your monthly is close to $4,300 per month. The increased rent on the highest sticker shock unit is $1,600 per month. Let's put it another way because it actually still sounds like an amazing deal with the recent increase. If rent started in 2023 for that $1,200 per month, how much of an annual yearly change is it at $1,600 per month starting in 2026? Here's what the calculations actually look like. It's an average 10% increase year over year. What does all the units referenced in the article show?
Now, in a letter to residents, the state's housing financing arm said the average increase was 10%.
Oh, it's about 10% on average. But hold on just a second. Isn't 10% increase annually high? You may think that on the surface, but if you own any condo, you've seen how much your maintenance has changed. And you really get how much costs have risen since COVID. If you haven't, let me share with you the secret many of you don't know from my own experience on the condo board. When all these natural disasters happened, like the Maui wildfire, what do you think happened to the cost of insurance everywhere? They practically doubled overnight. That's a case for the majority of buildings. Just take a look here. This is a 1-year increase for master insurance for condo buildings. The average is over 100% increase. Some buildings are more, and many include having to do major building repairs just to get it insured. The cost increase is so significant that a number of condo buildings had to do special assessments just to cover the increase in the insurance costs. It's one of the big reasons why condo prices has not gone up, because the cost to own has gone up so significantly. As the condo board president, I've had to push our maintenance up 25% and 10% the last 2 years. And that's doing everything I can to keep costs down and increase it the smallest amount. My building was also built in 1990, unlike many others built in the 70s. Even a newer affordable project in Ward Village, Kekilohana or 988 Halekawila, faced that issue. Maintenance went up 50% a year after it was built. There were lawsuits filed everywhere. Let's use another example that's not real estate related. How much has the price of everything gone up in the last few years? Think of how much it costs to fix something in your home, or at the grocery store, or with your car. Inflation is high, and the reason interest rates have stayed elevated for the last few years. How do you think that impacts you as an investor, and what is your natural reaction to do? Increase rent to accommodate those cost increases, right? I just had a first-time homebuyer meeting with a referral the other day, and we went over exactly this. She's been renting the same place since 2021, and here's what her rent increase and history looks like. She got the same notice from her landlord like in the article just this month. $600 more the following year, with the reason being the repiping project and insurance cost increases. Just like those at Senior Affordable Rentals, how she felt was exact same. That brings me to the next part. In the beginning of the video, it was very easy for you to ask yourself, how can they do it? It's so unfair, and there's no way it can be legal. If you made it this far into the video, do you still feel the same way? Either way, let me go over how affordable rentals actually work on Oahu. Now, there's 2 state departments right now in charge of affordable housing, the HHFDC and HCDA. While they're somewhat different, they base the affordability calculator on percentage of area median income depending on the unit, which is to say that there's guidelines and hard caps for rental increases with a process including agency approval. You can see the guidelines here for reference. While I don't know the exact specifics of each situation in this unit, it certainly looks like the increases fit within the range of those guidelines. And also, here's another piece of evidence.
Now, in a letter to residents, the state's housing financing arm said the average increase was 10% and confirmed to be allowable.
Now, here's another question to put the whole thing into perspective. For those increases to happen at a newer affordable senior project supported by the mayor, done by the largest affordable developer, do you not think they are following the rules?
A statement released by Michael's Marketing said, quote, "The community did recently raise rent on all units in accordance with government guidelines after 2 years of no increases."
Because everything tells me that they are. And the real question really becomes, are the rules fair? And what do we need to do to actually fix this problem? The solution to affordable housing boils down to three options, and all have their own benefits and drawbacks. The solution for you as an individual is the bonus at the end. So let's go over them. Putting hard caps or freezing rent is the most popular solution and suggested in the video. So let's start there. In New York, Mamdani campaigned on it and won because of it. But does it actually work? As a result of the current rules in place with a soft cap, we've successfully built 1,000 units, but it's out of 65,000 necessary units in the last decade. It would certainly allow those 1,000 renters to stay in their units, but what about the 64,000 others or more next year as the gap widens? Now, this is a problem with rent control. You trade off a short-term fix to the long-term supply problem. This second option is currently in use with the 2025 to 2028 Strategic Housing Plan, using state land to subsidize land costs, additional taxes for affordable housing, and actual financing for these types of projects. Senator Stanley Chang's Aloha Homes is based on that entire concept. I'm very familiar with his project because I spoke at one of his conferences as a real estate expert. I also spoke to him privately about the holes in his project and why it would fail as is. While they're all good conceptual solutions, you really have to question the state track record of success in solving these large problems. Let's take a look at three specific examples: the H3 project through the Ko'olau mountain range, the rail project, and the largest affordable project at Kuhio Park Terrace. If you bat 0% at these hard problems, it's really hard to expect your next at-bat to be a home run. I don't believe that the state of Hawaii is Shohei Ohtani. For all the complaints we have on the free market, how many problems have been solved because of capitalism? Nearly every building, new community, the majority of homes on this island were built because of capitalism. Every store or restaurant that you go to every day exists because they compete and succeed. The entire American dream is built on winning and achieving success from accomplishing just that. Yet, on this island, no matter how many times they try to fix things, like the Department of Planning and Permitting in their delays and the time it takes to get a permit, or the promises they make, they still end up like this. At some point, something needs to be said about just getting out of our own way by removing the barriers that they put in the first place. Here's a story of exactly that. My dad developed one of the first affordable housing projects on Oahu in the early 70s at 730 Willikina Drive. It's such an old lore and history that ChatGPT doesn't even know about it. Growing up, he used to tell me about the myriad of hoops he had to jump through, from the hefty political donations he had to make, the changes forced on him from inspectors, the added costs after approval to pay for the fire hydrant, then lights, to more, all to just develop an affordable housing project. The benefit was for locals, yet he's the one that got screwed during the whole process. It got so bad he was forced to sell it in 1993 due to state restrictions because it just wasn't a profitable investment anymore. He was literally losing money every month for a multi-million-dollar investment he poured his heart and soul into for years. I asked him if he would ever do it again, and he responded like this: never. This is way more common than you think for the actual builders and solvers of this affordable housing problem. Now, what can you do about this when it's an impossible problem to solve and every attempt seems to make it worse? It's to simply play the game as it lies and get started. In that first-time homebuyer presentation I mentioned previously, I shared this stat. For the last 30 years, the median home prices went up between 4 to 5% every year. It certainly does not mean consistently every year, but how often can you time the market perfectly when buying or selling your home? Who would have thought COVID would be the best thing for real estate prices when you own a home? Or these last 3 years, the worst in a decade. To make that stat real, I showed her what the numbers actually look like. For the typical first-time home buyer purchasing a $500,000 condo, that's nearly $25,000 in equity every year of ownership using historical appreciation at that 4.38%. If it were before rates increased in 2022, that median increase was over 5%. How many of you can outsave $25,000 a year after tax dollars, or increase your income by $40,000 every year simply by making the decision to buy and then hold? That's before the fact that it compounds every year. I had the same conversation with my cousin in 2017 when she wanted to wait until 20% down to purchase. Because of that conversation, she bought this condo in 2018 and sold it for $499,000 in 2021. That's 4.38% appreciation per year. She was looking to start a family and wanted more space. Her purchase gave her the down payment to accomplish that when she bought her home. You don't get to success overnight, and you certainly can't build Rome in one day. But you can start looking out for your future self and the success that comes with decisions like this. Here's an example of a condo your future self might say yes to.